Happy hobby, or should I say wonderful hobby, like the wonderful world of Disney. Happy hobby, I'm David Gunness, and today we are talking about the Disney cards, the Kakawow Disney cards that have hit eBay and are just going nuts right now. And I thought I'd talk about them a little bit, do show the ADP of a draft I was in last night for a break. It was pretty awesome. It was on Wisconsin. The guys at On Wisconsin ran this break for these are beautiful chromium cards from a company in China that's licensed Walt Disney World movie cards. So I thought I'd talk about that a little bit because it's been a crazy little past week with a lot of action on this stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting. I thought I'd give you the ADP to show you when you do get into one of these breaks. Because if you wanted to buy a box, it's about $300, and then you got to get shipping and all that from China. So it's expensive. So I thought instead of doing that, if you wanted to get in on a break, I got on a break last night. It was about $40, but you have opportunities for a lot of pretty cool cards, and they're selling for pretty good money on eBay right now. Like for instance, a silver holo. They have silver holo cards, by the way, of Mickey Mouse is like over $200 on eBay. So there's a lot of really cool cards on there, and they have chromium, like I said, chromium, silver holos. They got die cuts, inserts, really gorgeous cards, and the animation with the chromium is just it's a nice match. It really does look good. And I learned about these Disney cards from Suze on Card Chat. She's from CSG, and I've always followed her on Twitter. She's great, but she did um, a little write up in her newsletter, the Card Chat newsletter. I'll put a description in the link. There's going to be a bunch of links. I'll put a link in the description. There's going to be a bunch of links in the description that you want to check out, as well as the full draft that we did for the break, all 44 spots. So the way the break happened, the way it worked out is there's 44 spots available. So they did 11 draft spots. That's it, right? 11 people for 44 picks, basically. I should say it like that. So each person got 4 picks. And then they did a random draft order. And then it was a snake, like a fantasy style snake draft. So if you had the first pick, you also had the 22nd pick, and then the 23rd pick, and then the 44th pick. So it was pretty cool. So I wanted to do the ADP because I wanted, if you let you know, if you get into a draft, here's where these movies went. And so on the movies, the way this guy broke the breakup was live action films and uh, animated films of the same movies. So, like for instance, The Lion King had the Lion King cartoon, the animated movie, and then the Lion King live action were both the same pick. So if you pick Lion King, you got all the cards from that pick. So what's tricky is there's a lot of cards for some movies and very few cards for other movies that might be way more popular than this one. Like for instance, Zootopia had 9 cards that you could pick, or 9 cards in the set checklist. But something like let's see, like Aladdin or Peter Pan only had 3. So Peter Pan's obviously was a more popular movie than Zootopia, but there's only 3 cards. So we kind of you had to figure out which one would you rather have, shot at more cards. It'd be like a team break in baseball, and you get a great team with few players, or with few superstar prospects, or a team with a bunch of picks, but they're all kind of mediocre players, right? So it'd be like that. But this was from at On Wisconsin. They did this break, and they did it as a private break, not a private break, but on their Discord channel. So that's how popular it was. Is to put it on Twitter, like they saved it for their um, like their regulars, the guys that the people that often do breaks, or that are in their Discord channel that they have immediate access to. So let's see what else here. So first off, I just wanted to I'm wondering, like, how did this become a Chinese manufacturing? card set. I don't understand that. Like, why wasn't Topps and Panini or Panini involved in this specifically? Why wasn't Topps and Fanatics all over this? This is probably a couple years in the making. So I'm gonna guess Fanatics wasn't involved yet, but why wasn't Topps involved in this? Like, first of all, Topps CEO before Fanatics bought them was Michael Eisner, who was the former CEO at Disney. So obviously, there's a lot of connection, and he was a marketing guy. Like, he would have had a lot of connections with the marketing people over at Disney that I'm sure they could have worked something out. It just shocks me that that this did not get done by Topps. And then if they didn't get it, it shocks me it didn't get done by Panini. Like, that's just crazy. Meanwhile, this company, Kakawow, I mean, it rolls off the tongue. 100 Years of Wonder. 100, so what's it called? 100 Years, Disney 100 Years of Wonder Phantom cards. So I think Phantom is like the series, sort of how like it'd be like Panini Prism is my guess, and Kakawow is the manufacturer, like Panini would be. I really don't know. My Mandarin is horrible. It's not what it used to be. There's about 180 total cards in the set checklist. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description. But there are some cards that I have seen pulled that were not in the checklist. Like there's a Marie from the Aristocrats. There's just one card of her, but I don't see it in this set checklist. And there's a Sleeping Beauty reunion card that wasn't in the checklist. Like it wasn't really, only Maleficent was in there. So, but it looks like this guy did a pretty good job. He broke it down pretty good, and it explains all the pack odds and all that stuff. So it was really cool. So the cards that I plan to purchase singularly. Um, so the break happened last night. The movies I picked were Mickey and Friends, which is Mickey, Goofy, Donald, Pluto, all those, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Scrooge, McDuck, all those for just one spot. And that was the number one pick in 3 drafts. They did 3 different breaks, and Mickey and Friends was the number one pick in each one. So if you get into a break, that's the team you want, the Mickey and Friends team. The second one, we'll go through the ADP. Well, so the single cards I'd like to buy. We'll go back to that. I got Mickey in the break, so I'm happy with that. I'd like to buy Goofy. Baloo, love me some Baloo, right? That's a cool looking card. Donald, of course. Buzz Lightyear is one of the coolest looking cards. I thought it's one of the best cards. Marie from the Aristocrats, as I mentioned earlier. That's my wife's. Shelby's loves her some Marie, so I got to get that one. And then Mater from Cards. I love Mater, so we got to get that. Okay, so the overall ADP, like I said, Mickey and Friends was the number one pick. The Toy Story, number 2. That has how many cards in it? Is it 15 cards? That can't be right. 15 cards just for the Toy Story alone. The number 3 pick, Lion King, it had 5 cards in the cartoon and 6 in the live action. Frozen was number 4 ADP. 5 was Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon and the live action. 6 was Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, I would like to say this about the Pirates of the Caribbean cards. The live action cards weren't really cool looking. Like, they were actually depressing looking. I don't know what it was, but the animated cards looked so great that when he was going through the cards that he came across, like Blackbeard or Captain Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, they were just ugly cards. They weren't very nice looking at all. Just throwing that out there. Cinderella, number 7, Aladdin, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Winnie the Pooh, and there's live action there also. Cars, Big Hero 6, which I was surprised that went really high in our draft. So I saw it. It was a good movie, but I was shocked that it went as high as it did. It went like, I want to say top 6 or 7 in our draft. Finding Nemo 14 and The Incredibles 15. Now those are legit. So that's understandable. So now there's a couple missed movie opportunities too that I wanted to mention. Like for instance, they didn't have, for the Beauty and the Beast, they didn't have Gaston, or they didn't have Lumiere, which I was shocked for. And also in Cinderella, they didn't have Gus and Jock, the 2 mice that help Cinderella. Those are awesome. I love the Gus. Emperor's New Groove, that wasn't in there. I know that's kind of like a sleeper, but David Spade was amazing in that with John Goodman. That was just a great, with David Putty from Seinfeld playing Was it Kronk? Come on, it was great. Um, Monsters Inc. Now they have Monsters University, but they don't have Monsters Inc. And I think the other scary guys in Monsters Inc. would have been cool, as well as the little girl. She would have been a good one. Doug from Up, the movie Up, the dog. That would have been a great one. Sebastian from Little Mermaid. I thought that was a miss. The Seven Dwarfs from Snow White. Like what? How is there 15 Toy Stories and there's not seven dwarfs? I was surprised by that. So that leads me to believe maybe there's going to be a series 2. Maybe they're going to come out with another one and they'll have all these in there again. And I'll bet you they'll do Mickey and Friends in different poses or different eras. You know, Mickey looked different in a lot of different eras. Who knows? We'll see. Now, I think there are some era cards that are inserts in this set also that are pretty cool. So that also led me to believe, or led me to think, well, what are some other opportunities in this realm that a company could try to make some cards? And now, The Simpsons, I know there's been some Simpsons cards out there before, but I feel like there could be a really good chromium version. These animated cards on chromium stock are just fantastic. They just look so good. And then add on the silver holo ones, and it's just like so bright, so beautiful. Like those are really nice looking cards. Saturday Night Live is another one that I think eventually I'm gonna do a whole separate video on Saturday Night Live that I think Fanatics needs to jump on. Definitely jump on that. But you could do the characters, you could do the actors and actresses, you could do different eras, you could do a lot of recurring stuff. You could do the weekend updates. So there's just so many different things I think they could do that would be fun. But again, just like with the Pirates of the Caribbean, I wonder if maybe the live action stuff just doesn't translate as good. It does when it's a sport and it's an action shot, but not so much when it's just a profile of Blackbeard. Like it just didn't work. And then another thing that I thought would be a cool thing for someone to do, and I know there's Pop Century, but pop culture by the decade. And what I mean by that is maybe it's an 80s set, and then you have cards in that set, in that series, that's different music from the 80s, different bands, obviously different movies and TV shows from that era, like an A-Team card. That'd be awesome. Get an A-Team card. Different food brands, like there's some brands back from the 80s that aren't even around anymore. Like, I don't know if you know Marathon Bar, Marathon Candy Bar is like caramel and chocolate over it. Even some like tech cards from the 80s, or like an 8-track player from the 70s and 80s. Like, that'd be cool. Cassette player. I guess the cassette player's still around. But anyways, I just think that'd be kind of a neat thing to get into is historical cards. You could even do within that pop culture thing. You could even do some like news or historical stuff within that. I think that'd be neat. But anyways, so you saw the ADP, you saw some of the cards. I want to know what you think. Hit up in the comments. What do you guys think of this Disney set? Do you think this is the start of something pretty awesome? Like there's going to be a lot of stuff like this? Do you think it's just it's exciting for right now, but you think it's just going to die away, like it's not that big of a deal? What do you think? I want to hear in the comments section. How did it get to China? How did China? I don't understand. But I want to know. Tell me in the comments section, and have a wonderful world of a happy hobby.